let's talk about angel investing, the basics. It's about startups, starting them, growing them to become mature companies. And through that whole process, we provide financing, and not just uh, through money, but through human capital. And that's a theme that you're going to hear an awful lot today. We also like to stress that the best angel investors are active ones. All right. You can be a passive investor, but make sure if you are a passive investor, you're investing in a fund with other people who are very active. Investing in startups is about spending time with them, spending human capital with them because they require a lot of nurturing. You should have even temperament. You know, being kind is very important in this ecosystem, right? It's very hard as it is. We like to stress that our investors have a general love and respect for startups. This asset class, what we call angel investing relative to other asset classes, well, it's the best performing, but we know it's also the highest risk. So then the goal here is to manage that risk and get it to so it's a manageable risk for investors, smart investors to access. At 25 investments, you're most likely to get a 2x return. All right. And of course, this gets better and better. This is what we call the efficient frontier, which is Markowitz theory, right? What is the sweet spot? Where is the best place to be? So after 20, you start to access this asset class on a lower risk basis. All right. At 50 investments, you're very likely to get a 2.5 to 3x return. So you see, that's why it does become a numbers game. And by the way, this doesn't mean this is just the law of large numbers, right? You can optimize this just by being smart. And in fact, you can get this to 3x, 75% or 80% by smart management and the proper deployment of human capital. That is people. Get people to work. I love Ben Horowitz's quote here, what it's like to be a CEO of a startup. It's really hard, okay? And if you're in a startup right now, you know that it's tough, right? And but it's very important that angel funds take an active role to take some of the pain away and surround startups with people. That's one of our approaches, by the way. It's also important to know that startups have a funding life cycle. And what you see on the left there, the Valley of Death, Yazreen and Rashid are going to talk about that, okay? It's a lot more, but there's a way to manage this Valley of Death. There really is. It doesn't have to be a Valley of Death. And what that really means is many startups get capital very early, but they can't get the later stage capital, and that's where they die. So for all of their success, the reward is they have to sell out early because they can't get any more financing. Okay, so let's take a look at the funding life cycle a little bit closer. What you see here is 4 phases, all right? And it's important to know that through the phases, the offer changes, whatever product or service you're making, the impact to the customer changes, and where you get your cash for investment, that changes too. And also the actual organization, it changes. You have a fund, and this is where people come together, they invest together. There's usually a general partner which helps orchestrate the investing and managing it. And they work for the limited partners, and the limited partners green light these investments together, right? And there'll be some form of in a more professionally managed fund, such as OxBridge Angels. There can be some carry involved, some management fees, because they're trying to orchestrate all this and create a safe place. And so there also should be organized. You should have a committee. You should have various committees that help manage this whole process. So finally, the role of the GP in an angel fund is to orchestrate all of these activities, to create a safe place, and to create a virtuous cycle in investing. And you notice that portfolio companies are part of the process. The GPs work very closely with the portfolio companies and surrounding them with people.